Hello, I am Colonel Douglas Macgregor, President and Chief Executive Officer of the nationalconversation.org. Today, I want to tell you about an American who lives in your community. This American worked at the same company for 31 years. He was never rich. He was never famous. He was an American who believed that if you showed up, did your job, and kept your word, the Americans in Washington who were supposed to represent him would keep their word too. In 1971, he made $11,000 a year. That was a house, a car. It meant food on the dinner table, and a wife who raised the children at home. $11,000. Today, the same job pays $50,000. Sounds like progress. 5 times the money. But that house costs 15 times more than it did in 1971. The car costs 20 times what it did in 1971, and the wife and mother staying at home, well, that is now a mathematical impossibility. Did the American become lazy, dumb, or less capable? No. So where did the value go? It was stolen. Not by a man in a mask. It was stolen by men in suits in wood-paneled rooms who changed the rules while your parents trusted their country. It all began on one day, August 15th, 1971, the day the music stopped and the gold standard was discarded. We hear the number on the news, $38 trillion in national debt. You hear it, you shake your head, and you go back to work. The politicians count on that. They rely on your inability to visualize the crime. So let us do the math together. Imagine you are standing in Bethlehem on the night that Christ came into the world. In your hand, you hold $1 million. You begin spending it. $1 million every day. You spend through the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, through the Crusades, the American Revolution, the American Civil War, and D-Day. $1 million a day, every day, for 2,000 years, right up until this morning. How much would you have spent? Roughly $740 billion. You haven't even hit the 1 trillion mark. Yet today, Washington is adding $1 trillion to the national sovereign debt every 3 months. To reach our current debt of $38 trillion, you would have had to spend $1 million a day for 100,000 years. In other words, for longer than the modern men and women have walked this planet. This is not economics. This is a crime scene. And the crime began when President Nixon temporarily suspended the gold standard. Before that night, a dollar was a claim on gold. It was real. After that night, the dollar became fiction, a promise backed by nothing but the faith in a government that has lied us into every war for the last half-century. Before 1971, if Washington wanted to spend, they had to tax you. There was a limit. After 1971, they could print. And when they print, they are printing away your savings, your income, and your heritage. And print they did. They did not print wealth. They printed power. The printing press is the mother of endless war. For $2 trillion in Afghanistan over 20 years, and 4 presidents, we replaced the Taliban with the Taliban. If the government had to tax you directly to bomb countries most Americans couldn't find on a map, you would revolt. But because they print, the war is invisible. The printing press is the mother of endless bureaucracy. When money is infinite, you can hire armies of bureaucrats. 70,000 pages of federal code became 200,000. A maze designed to strangle the small businessmen and protect the corporate giant. The printing press is the mother of endless immigration. They tell you it's about compassion. It's not. It is a wage suppression operation. Why pay an American a living wage when you can import a replacement for half the price? What's the result? Millions of people flood into the United States and drive down the cost of American labor, while Washington prints money to drive up the price of their assets. It's not a border crisis. It's an economic weapon deployed against us, the American people. The printing press is the mother of endless outsourcing. Printed money allowed them to ship your factories overseas. Behind those closed doors lie rusted towns, broken families, and an opioid epidemic that is killing more Americans than the Vietnam War ever did. Republicans, Democrats. What's the difference? Nixon, Carter, Reagan, Trump, Obama. Different faces of the same machine, with the same hand on the printing press. You were told, this is capitalism. This is the free market. It was not capitalism. Capitalism requires competitive pressure, disciplined by consequences for poor decisions, to fuel creative destruction. In this system, when big business fails, Washington prints money to bail out its donors, assuming you have the right friends. If you do not, you are foreclosed. Let's look at the evidence. Your grandfather earned $1 in 1971. He put it in a box. That dollar bought 10 loads of bread. Today, you open that box, same paper, same ink, same dead president, but now it buys one slice. The paper did not change. Washington drained the life out of it. That box is not an inheritance. It is evidence for theft. And what did they steal? Not just purchasing power. They stole your time and your standard of living. The average American works 2,000 hours a year. Thanks to taxes and inflation, the government takes half. 1,000 hours stolen every year. Over a 40-year career, that's 4.5 years of your life. Sleeping, waking, working, breathing, gone. That is involuntary servitude for 4.5 years to buy bombs for wars you did not vote for, housing for people who entered the country illegally, and bailouts for banks that treat you with complete contempt. The point is, you are living on 3 plantations, each one run by different masters, all working together to harvest your labor. First is the digital plantation run by Silicon Valley. You are the product. They harvest your attention, your data, your anxiety. They tune algorithms to keep you angry, scrolling, addicted. They censor you if you step out of line. You work for free, building their empire. Second is the debt plantation run by Wall Street. They have made it impossible to live without chains. Student debt before you can buy a beer. Housing debt for 30 years. Credit card debt for groceries and maybe generations. A man in debt is a man who is afraid. He won't speak up. He won't rock the boat. That is the point. Both parties serve Wall Street. Check the donor lists. Third is the tax plantation run by Washington. You work half the year for the government. What do you get? Not health care, not safe streets, not a border. Your labor is sent to countries that hate us, corporations that replace you, and bureaucrats who despise you. You are financing your own destruction, and it does not matter which party controls Congress. I spent my adult life inside the American military. I saw much of this from the inside. I am telling you now, the machine is not broken. It's actually working as designed to extract wealth from the productive and transfer it to the connected. If you are waiting for a savior to show up in the White House, stop. The savior is not coming. So what then? Despair? No. Build. When the system fails, do not beg to be rescued. Build a parallel structure. Build a lifeboat. The math is undeniable. You cannot print $38 trillion and escape the consequences. The bill is coming due. Wars in the Middle East, Eastern Europe, or Venezuela will not rescue our economy. They will tank it. It is time to get real. Washington can print a dollar, but Washington cannot print an ounce of silver. Buy a silver coin. Hold it in your hand. Feel its weight. That is the weight of history. That is the only money that implies no liability to anyone else. It is yours. They cannot debase it. They cannot hack it. They cannot turn it off. They cannot print a backyard garden, a patch of soil, a localized food source. That's independence. They cannot print a tool shed. So learn to repair, learn to build. The ability to fix your own world is the ultimate rebellion against a disposable society. They cannot print a community, barter or trade. If you have eggs and your neighbor has firewood, you can trade. That is a transaction Washington cannot tax, cannot track, and cannot control. It is a free market. We are launching the national conversation. It's a movement, a network of Americans who are determined not only to survive, but to prevail. Americans who are finished with the Washington, D.C. fake wrestling theater. Finally, I would like you to do one more thing this holiday season. Find a combat veteran in your town, not a bureaucrat, someone who has actually been under fire, a fighter, someone who has seen the cost of Washington's lies up close. Prepare a meal, invite them into your home, break bread, look them in the eye, rebuild the bonds of community that the mainstream media has tried to destroy. That is where the resistance begins, not at a ballot box, but at the dinner table. The Jesus math proves the scale of the lie. The grandfather's dollar proves the theft mechanism. The stolen years prove the cost. Now you must be resilient. The Washington kleptocracy wants you to be passive, to fight over red versus blue, while they both rob you. Do not give them the satisfaction. Go to thenationalconversation.org, sign up, bring one person, one friend, one neighbor, one family member who knows something is wrong, but may not have the words to describe it. Give them the words. The empire of lies is dying. Let it die. We will build the real America on the other side. Buy the coin, plant the seed, share the meal. We do not need the government's permission to be free. The nonsense ends when we say it ends. Join us, and if you believe in this movement, if you believe in building something worthy of the American spirit, please consider donating. Every contribution, large or small, helps us grow the community, spread the message, and strengthen the movement that will save the American Republic from ruin. Thank you for listening. God bless you and your families, and may you have a very happy holiday season.